Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. We got a news update coming out of the Middle East. We are August 2, 2021. Tension between Israel and Iran are rising. Um, so I'm sure some of you folks have seen this. It was kept pretty quiet in our Western news by and large. We've got Olympic fever, so we're not paying attention to a whole lot else. On July 29th, 2021, a suicide drone attacked an Israeli owned ship, the Mercer Street, and the attack occurred off of the coast of Oman, and the oil tanker was empty, and the ship was able to make it to safety with a United States naval escort. Blew up my little globe here on the far right and follow the cursor. Here we have the Arabian Peninsula. Give you guys some landmarks. This is Oman, around here on the what would be kind of the southeast corner, the east corner of the Arabian Peninsula, the Gulf of Oman, Straits of Hormuz, Persian Gulf, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the ship was right here, kind of a little bit off this horn, and that's where the incident took place. This is from Zodiac Maritime. This is an update on the situation involving the Mercer Street. With profound sadness, we understand the incident on board the Mercer Street on 29 July 2021 has resulted in the deaths of two crew members on board, a Romanian national and a UK, United Kingdom national. We are not aware of harm to any other personnel. Our primary concern remains the safety and well-being of everyone on board and all those affected by the situation. Details of the incident are still being established, and an investigation into the incident is currently underway. We continue to work closely with the UK MTO and other relevant authorities. We have no additional details to share at this time. Now, this was a post that was put up on Twitter on, I guess, is yesterday morning, about 7 in the morning. Well, I take that back. July 30th. Post was made July 30th, 7:11 in the morning on Twitter. Now, the UK MTO, which is mentioned above, is the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations and non-piracy attack. I mean, initially this went out as a piracy attack, then it was revised to a non-piracy attack, and it shows the exact coordinates of where the incident took place. And so this is where the Mercer Street was located, and again, this is off the coast of Oman. Again, getting some context, this is Oman. Again, the Persian Gulf here, Straits of Hormuz here, Gulf of Oman here, Indian Ocean, Iran to the north. So you can see where this took place, off the coast of Oman. Now, if you're interested in more details, I've got several articles here for people who are interested in taking a deeper dive into this. You can go to thedrive.com Warzone. Fatal attack on tanker off Oman blamed on suicide drone report. Now, this is from various reports. I've seen this all over the place from many different sources. Indicate the Shahed 136 drone is the vehicle utilized for the attack. And here's a photo of the drone. Kind of looks like a little stealth drone. Iranian TVs put up some videos of showing these little drones flying around. They do. They look like little stealth drones. Flying. This picture is from ORI World News out of Israel. It's their Twitter feed. And some people you might want to check out Newsweek. Newsweek has an article that shows more information on the Shahed 136 drone. And essentially, I'm going to go back up here to our map. Some of these drones are being used down here in this corner of the Arabian Peninsula. The Houthis, the Houthis, Houthi in Yemen, are firing these drones or launching these drones into Saudi Arabia. And so effectively what we have taken place is Iran using all these little proxies and drones to kind of lash out at their adversaries throughout the Middle East. And some think some of these drones were even used in the West Bank and Gaza, the latest conflict with Israel. But you might want to take a look at that as well. Do your own homework on some of that. But there's no doubt Iran has a stable of suicide drones, kamikaze drones. That's some of the language that's being used for these different drones. That they've started using machines, hardware instead of people, martyrs. They still got their martyrs who are committed to the cause, but they're starting to use things that are not human life to do some of their damage. Now, Israel, along with the United Kingdom and the United States, is convinced Iran is responsible for the attack on the Mercer Street vessel. Israeli Prime Minister Bennett's comments are noted in a tweet below. His video comments are a little over 1 minute, and they're worth every second. Now, I don't understand Hebrew, but I do understand tone and body language. Based on Bennett's history of a no-nonsense approach to the enemies of Israel, I suspect Prime Minister Bennett means business. So here's the tweet from the Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister Naftali Bennett at the cabinet meeting today, and I quote, "The world recently received a reminder of Iranian aggression, this time on the high seas. The Iranians who attacked the ship Mercer Street with UAVs intended to attack an Israeli target." And I'm going to hit this, and you're not going to get any sound out of this. And I'm going to fast forward here toward the tail end of this. We're just going to watch. I'll watch about the last 12 seconds. And I just want you to watch this guy's face. You can go back and read these comments later. Sending a message to Iran in our own way. I think he's looking to do something. Again, if you want, go back, read the comments. Very succinct, to the point, and look straight into the camera like he's looking straight at Iran. And like, we'll handle this in our own way. I think something's going to happen. The government of the United Kingdom held a special Cobra meeting, per a report from Sky News. And a Cobra meeting is held in only serious focus of the issue. So they have convened their Cobra meeting in the United Kingdom. United Kingdom Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab blamed Iran and stated the event as deliberate targeted assault, which constituted a clear violation of international law. You folks may want to keep an eye on Dominic Raab. He was briefly kind of like a de facto prime minister. I think that's right. When Johnson got sick, and then he also represented Theresa May and then stepped down. But he's kind of a power broker in the UK, kind of hanging around in the shadows, if you will. I know some of you folks will be interested in this. His father is Jewish, although he has his father died when he was younger, and he was raised in the Church of England with his mom. And it doesn't have a whole lot to do with his Jewish upbringing, or his Jewish lineage, excuse me. But just something to watch. I know a lot of you folks are interested in anybody who has any kind of Jewish lineage, especially from Europe. I know there are a lot of folks who think that's where the lawless one will come from. So I'm not saying it's him, just saying, hey, you may want to pay attention to this guy. He's of intrigue and close to political power. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson indicated Iran will face up to the consequences for their actions. And Johnson was also quoted, "This was clearly an unacceptable and outrageous attack on commercial shipping. A UK national died." And again, that's UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson with the quote. Couple of articles from sky.com, news.sky.com. UK and US blame Iran for oil tanker attack which killed Britain. Oil tanker attack. Iranian ambassador summoned to foreign office after drone strike on Mercer Street. And so the Brits called the Iranian ambassador. Hey, we need to talk to you. Had a little chat with him. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has weighed in on the events. He's confident Iran is responsible for the attack. Here's a couple, I think 2 or 3 quotes from the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. We are in very close contact and coordination with the United Kingdom, Israel, Romania, and other countries, and there will be a collective response. We have seen a series of actions taken by Iran over many months, including against shipping, so I'm not sure that this particular action is anything new or augurs anything one way or another for the new government. But what it does say is that Iran continues to act with tremendous irresponsibility. And again, that's United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken. For more details, check out I-24 News out of Israel. U.S. Blinken vows collective response to Iran on Mercer Street attack. And to add even more fun to this situation, by the time some of you guys will see this, it will be today. So it'd be Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. Iran will be swearing in their new president, Ebrahim Raisi. He's known as the Tehran Butcher. And the name was earned as thousands of political prisoners died at the decisions of the Death Committee, which he was the leader. Human rights organizations have charged Raisi with war crimes against humanity, including, an offshoot of the UN. They hired somebody like a consultant to raise these charges on behalf. The whole thing was bizarre as I was reading it, and it's like, why didn't the UN just step up and say, hey, we got a problem with you? But they didn't. They hired some consultant, got some contractors to do their dirty work and say that this guy committed war crimes against humanity. Raisi is a fundamental conservative Shia hardliner, and previously he was the chief justice of the Iranian judicial system. So it'd be like Judge Roberts of the Supreme Court in the United States would be the equivalent. Now, this is a video I put up on YouTube. And when he was elected, I guess that would have been back in June? So 6 weeks ago or so, Iran elects new president, Ebrahim Raisi. I think there's, 15, 20 minutes about this guy. Some different things that were pointed out about him at the time. Some even think he will succeed the current Ayatollah as the grand poobah, the main Ayatollah of Iran. If something were to happen to the current Ayatollah Khamenei, that Raisi would be next in line. He's tight with the Ayatollah. So, and imagine this, there was suspicion that there was fraud in the election. I mean, the amount he won by was so crazy that there didn't even need to be a runoff. It was so decisive. He was appointed to power. But check out the video for some of those details. But the bottom line, buckle up. We know what Ezekiel 38:5 says. Persia, that's who we're focusing on, along with Cush and Put are with them. All of them with shield and helmet. And they're going to join Russia and Turkey. And they're going to look to go in through the north side of Israel, through the Golan Heights, and try to invade Israel at some point in the future. And if you've been following the news out of the Middle East, the tide may be turning with Russia and their attitude toward Israel. And I suspect, just watching how this prophecy lays out, if we're close, and it's close to the time for Ezekiel's 38:39 prophecy to occur, I suspect Israel's gonna bloody their nose pretty good, irritate Russia or Magog. And, make them even a little more stern, firm toward Israel, like they've had enough. And they made the comment they're running out of patience with Israel, that being Russia. and that all the agreements they had were with Netanyahu and they don't necessarily apply to Bennett. So they're already maneuvering to change their posture, their position toward Israel. So we'll see what happens. And again, this is occurring. Again, new leaders in the Middle East. So, the stability of previous leaders and expectation of who and what we were dealing with is changing. So we're going to have a new president in Iran, a new prime minister in Israel. We have a new president in the United States. Syria is in civil war. Assad remains in power. Erdogan remains in power in Turkey, and Putin remains in power in Russia. So we'll see. We'll watch, see what happens. If you folks are interested, please feel free to share this with others. Our Western press, mainstream press here in the United States, we're not covering this stuff. Share it with others. Get the word out. This is categorized under Ezekiel 38, Persia, Elam, Iran, Persia, Elam, ancient names for Iran, trend update, and prophecy as well. So slide down here on the far right, these categories, and check those things out. The different topics wherever you're interested. So interesting times. Things seem to be escalating. And again, we're about a month out from the fall feasts. And, this may escalate, ratchet this up pretty good as we get closer. Events here recently in the last year or two seem to be picking up, a couple, 3 weeks, maybe even a month out before the appointments, the feasts occur. And big ticket items have been happening here recently in and around the feasts. So, and especially the fall feasts. So we will be watching. I suspect I'll be making more posts. But at any rate, appreciate you guys listening. Take care. Have a good evening. Night.